People watching it alone in their homes, will they still throw coins at the screen? Will they still? No, they won't.
You definitely won't be throwing coins on your screen. I can't believe I lost out on 4 hours of sleep because of this. I always believe in going for a movie or series with the expectation that it may surprise me even if the marketing material or the particular product has not necessarily connected with me. When I saw the trailer of the Rohit Shetty series Indian Police Force starring Sidharth Malhotra, I immediately felt as if Shetty is trying to emulate the same formula of his cop universe, from the big screen to a streaming platform. The assumption being that there isn't an adaptation or a new tonality that Shetty is flexing, but simply presenting the same pitch and treatment, with the expectation that it will garner the same mass response from the audience. I wholeheartedly have to tell you, this is the precise reason why Indian Police Force is such a tough watch. This is the shift that most indie filmmakers will tell you about, is the transition that streaming platforms are executing. What was once a safe haven for compelling storytelling and giving a voice to those who are shortchanged with opportunities in the mainstream has quickly transitioned to get as many star faces as possible for their projects. Indian Police Force, being an example of the same transition, focuses on Kabir Malik, played by Sidharth Malhotra, who has a personal stake in capturing a terrorist who is responsible for several blasts taking place in various Indian cities. The reason the antagonist has embarked on this violent path, the relationship that Kabir shares with his seniors in the police force, namely Vikram and Tara, played by Vivek Oberoi and Shilpa Shetty respectively, and the quest to finally nab the dreaded terrorist, forms the basic premise of Indian Police Force. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the series so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it on Amazon Prime Video or not. The good. Some action set pieces. The only adaptation to the streaming services or something that Rohit Shetty as a creator has enhanced in his foray in the digital world is the choreography of some of his action set pieces that are dispersed all across 7 episodes. While we still get the same vintage Shetty tropes of incessant explosions and cars flipping, Shetty excels in some of the choreography of the hand-to-hand combat sequences, especially because it presents intricate set pieces that have long shots and minimum cuts. Most of the action choreography presents the actors themselves performing the stunts, so there is not a lot of masking that the creators have to do. This is where Sidharth Malhotra, I believe, especially excels, something that was identified in a movie like A Gentleman directed by Raj and DK. Sidharth is physically agile and gets his hands dirty in several moments of combat. 3 portions that really stand out for me: one includes the action set piece in a drug factory where Shilpa Shetty also excels, an ambush shootout that involves Vivek Oberoi too, and a brilliant set piece as a van passes through a violent riot taking place as the city burns in flames. Even though I believe that there were far too many drone shots in the series, almost being used in every major scene, when all fails, the makers use drone shots, and what started off as capturing the expansive nature by the end of the series becomes a trope that is used as much as Jamie using the word jarring in his reviews. What they set out to do. The intention of the series is the same thing that Rohit Shetty attempted to do with Suryavanshi. So from a storyline perspective, there is nothing new or inventive about the series. The intention from a writing point of view is still to present the argument of a responsible Indian Muslim versus those who take up arms and constantly bring up Islam and its misuse of jihad. The problem is that the same can be expanded well over the course of 7 episodes, but the series actually comes across as a highlight reel, not really having a deep dive on characters and their motivations, taking the shape of a vintage Bollywood movie that has abrupt romantic subplots, comedy, and songs while murder and death are being conspired. It's all weirdly confusing. Sidharth has the ability to shine in some moments of rage, but it overall comes across as what most of his acting performances are like: bland for the most part. I actually cannot go out of my way to commend anyone as if they are a standout. Vivek Oberoi is fine, Shilpa Shetty is okay in action sequences. I would be lying if I raved about anyone. The series is just filled with either lukewarm or poor performances. While I acknowledge the intention behind laying focus on extremism in religion and the dire consequences that come with it, the execution is a mess, and I'll tell you exactly why. the underwhelming aspects: abrupt editing and inauthenticity. The series is mostly set in Delhi, and never in the slightest do you feel that it is set in Delhi. Most of the locations come across as fake cities created in Mud Island in Mumbai, and other than some visual snippets of India Gate and CP, the film lacks the authenticity we are used to with series that are shot in real locations. Most of the locations come across as ideas of what the real places may look like, and this is what disconnects viewers from the onset. The opening shot itself is police officers talking in Lodi Garden, and it is nothing but a green screen behind them. There is a restaurant that the police force visits quite often with the backdrop of Qutub Minar, and most Delhi members would identify it looks nothing like Mehrauli, just a fake setup with a CGI monument placed in the backdrop. Beyond the inauthenticity of its frames, the color palette of the series seems to go through jaundice, having a sepia-like tone that progressively gets more pale and reaches the crescendo when the storytelling reaches Bangladesh, the disease of yellow fully taking over the body in the concluding moments of the series. What's crazy is that this isn't the worst part. The film is told in a non-linear fashion, and while most storytellers execute this in order to surprise us eventually, the timeline is actually more confusing than smart. Each episode focuses on a different timeline referencing old conversations too, and you're left asking yourself which portion of the story you're actually a part of. There is nothing shocking about the storytelling. It's a simple cat and mouse chase series, but the non-linear screenplay packs no punch for the viewer. They even kill a character before they are even introduced only. So how can one feel the impact of their loss later on? You ask yourself several times, is this before or after his marriage? Is that partner dead or alive right now? Is this Gujarat or Delhi or Goa? It's all convoluted and never smart. Pitch and unintentionally funny. This is where the opening statement that I presented of Nasruddin Shah comes to play. Will the mass treatment of films work on the OTT platform when we see it in seclusion, independent of the community experience? It may be true for some films, but this and its mass elements are just not done with conviction, making you cringe through most of the punchlines and you simply find it unintentionally funny in others. Terrorism is bloody personal is being stated by Sidharth, and it just took me back to Tejas. Just that in this case, it is executed with very bland expressions and a delivery that just doesn't pack the punch. Sidharth says to Shilpa, "Inhe Dilli wala tarika dikhana padega," barging into a gate in a Scorpio that just does nothing for you. A villain, after being beaten up, coaxes Tara Shetty and says, "Shetty loves gold and Goldie's got a lot of gold." Just for your information, one of the villains' name is Goldie. A police officer looks at a bomb and says, "Ye kya hai?" The child holding onto the bomb says, "Ye to bomb hai." I was controlling my laughter throughout these serious moments. The terrorists have the same घिसा पिटा हुआ dialogues like "मकसद को अंजाम देने के लिए आए हैं हम." A terrorist is finally caught and put in a Scorpio. He casually steps out of it during a chase scene, reminding me of the famous meme.
ये गाड़ी लॉक कौन करेगा बाबा? ऐसा खुला नहीं छोड़ने का. मैं भाग गया तो.
The Home Ministry telling Sidharth to get those bastards, and Sidharth replies, "Dilli ka londa hu, uthakar le aunga." And it just makes you cringe. The series will not even momentarily make you hoot and cheer for what you see. Maybe only for some of the long shot action sequences if you're kind. Odd focus and bland impact. I don't know about all of you, but I love when I truly understand the protagonist of a film or series. When I know his motivations, his personality, his family dynamic and relationships. And what's the most odd regarding this series is that its primary focus is on the villain and not Sidharth Malhotra. Isha Talwar, playing the role of Sidharth's wife, is handed over the smallest role, the makers barely shedding light on their relationship, as if in a rush to focus on the case. We never get a deep dive into Sidharth Malhotra and his character, why he joined the police force, a Deshbhakt Muslim police officer, what makes him so honorable, courageous and law-abiding. But yes, what the series does want to focus on is the romantic storyline of the villain, his weak origin story, and random cute banter shared with his partner, while India and its various cities are burning in flames. Should I empathize with his cute banter with his partner, while Jaipur, Delhi and Goa are burning in flames? I just could not understand why a laser-focused approach on the antagonist helped the series, because after several hardships that Sidharth faces, you barely feel anything because largely the focus is on the villain and his personal dynamic, not Sidharth. Mayank Tandon playing the villain barely has an iota of intimidation that can make you feel scared of the possible outcomes ahead. By the end of it, Indian police force just does not pack the punch for viewers who are used to watching such compelling stories in digital platforms. The product just pales in comparison in so many departments. It really was just a case of a streaming giant tapping into the most commercial director, but at the end, we just got a lame reiteration of his theatrical releases versus something new and inventive. I'm just bummed about the fact that I lost sleep because of this series. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Indian Police Force. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.